Hey, 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 party people. It's Brandi and Cesley, and we're back with Blooming Through Faith, the podcast that helps you grow and bloom in your mindset, lifestyle, health, and wealth. We want you to know that you are capable, beautiful, and worthy. All right. On today's episode, we are diving into 5 things that are more important than being nice. We want to bring clarity to your relationships, bring awareness to potential people pleasing habits, and help you learn how to lead with kindness in all your relationships while taking care of yourself and your emotions.
Yes. Y'all, this is actually one of my favorite topics because I talk about this a lot. That being nice is not the same thing as being kind or anything else. So, we're going to go into what we think is more important than just being nice, especially being two girls from the South. Brandy's from Florida. I'm from Texas. We're both very Southern. There's a lot of women out there just, being nice but not being very true to themselves. So, number one is being authentic. Like, sometimes being nice does not mean being authentic. Being nice can lead us to being inauthentic. We tend to agree to things that we don't want to do. We tend to bend the truth about how we feel, and we avoid having an actual opinion. We want you ladies to know that it is so much more important to be authentic than to just be nice. We want you to figure out who you are and what you like and what you don't like so that it can help you to be more genuine and kind instead of just being nice. So the more authentic that you are, for me, that just really means if I'm being authentic, I can actually focus on how I want to treat somebody, not just being nice to them and kind of brushing over things that maybe I don't love or I don't want to do. I want to have a genuine relationship with somebody, and I can only have a genuine relationship with somebody if I'm being authentic to who I am. Being nice to please the things they like or the things they want is never going to help me get closer to anyone ever.
Yeah, that's so good. All right, number 2, having integrity. Integrity is more important than just being nice because it involves a deeper commitment to honesty, consistency, and moral principles. All right, while being nice focuses on pleasant interactions, integrity ensures that your actions align with your values and that you are trustworthy. It
Mhm.
means doing the right thing, even if it's difficult, which fosters genuine respect and builds lasting trust. Integrity supports a reliable and principled character, whereas niceness alone might, I don't know, not address deeper ethical concerns and or promote long-term respect and trust. Grow girls, have integrity.
Yeah, that's a big one for us. And I think too, we were both involved with a lot of people just through work and stuff that it would have been a lot easier to just be nice. And we had to stand our ground on a lot of things, and we had to have integrity about a lot of things that other people were just like, oh, that doesn't matter. And for Brandy and I, it's so important to have integrity in everything that you do that sometimes you're going to have to not be nice to have integrity. Like, I think that's so important. Sometimes having integrity means you might not be nice, but you're doing the right thing. So it's so important. And that really
Period.
leads into number 3. Number 3 is being able to stand your ground, but like respectfully. Okay. This doesn't mean that you just bully people. This doesn't mean that you have something to say about everything. Okay. Being able to stand your ground means that it might be easier to be nice to somebody and just say, "Oh, you're right," or "Oh, I agree with you." You actually stand your ground in what you believe in. It kind of just ties into the other two. Having integrity and making sure you're being authentic means that sometimes you're going to have to defend your actions. And for a lot of women, that's really hard. A lot of women fall in, including myself, we fall into these like people pleasing
Mhm.
just behavior because we want to be nice. Like my whole life as a little girl, I was taught be nice, be nice. Say, say hello to this person, say hello to that person, make sure you're being nice, make sure you're being nice. And at the end of the day, like I want to teach my daughter that these things are more important than being nice. Like, yes, you should always be nice to somebody, but if you have to ruffle some feathers to stand your ground and defend your stance, I think that's so important, especially being a Christian woman. That's something I want to teach my daughter because there's going to be a lot of times where she's going to have to stick up for herself and her beliefs and what she thinks is true and right. And it's going to ruffle some feathers. And it would be a lot easier for her to not stick up for herself, to be honest. It would be a lot easier to just say, okay, we can do whatever you want to do, or I'll lay down on this one because I don't want to cause a fight. Conflict does not always have to be bad, you guys. Conflict can be a beautiful thing that leads to people getting to know you better and just to resolution. You have to be able to learn how to stand your ground and do it respectfully.
Yeah, I love that. And not everybody's going to see eye to eye on everything. You don't
Yeah.
have to agree with something if you don't actually agree with it, right? And that kind of goes back to what we've talked about before and like mean girls talking about other girls. Like for me, if somebody's bad mouthing somebody, I'm like, nope. I'm going to either
Yeah.
not chime in or I'm going to stick up for that other person because that's who I am as a person. And you guys should all be able to do that. The next one is having hobbies and passions. Okay. Having hobbies and passions is vital for women and moms because it nurtures personal fulfillment and well-being. Pursuing interests outside of daily responsibilities fosters creativity. It reduces stress and provides a sense of identity beyond parenting, which is so important. It also sets a positive example for children, demonstrating the importance of self-care and following one's passions. I think I've said this before, but I was listening to an Ed Milet podcast, and what he said on this podcast was like transforming for me. He was like, child neglect is also parents not following their dreams. Whoa,
Oh,
right? Because then you're showing your children that it's okay
yeah.
to just settle, to not go after what you want in life, right? And I was like, wow, that is so impactful.
100%. 100%. I have never heard that. And that kind of just blew my mind right now because I'm like, that's so
Mhm,
true. And I think that's the thing for me. This is such an important topic because as a kid, like I said it earlier in this episode, I was always taught to kind of just
mhm,
follow the line and be nice. And I was never told, and I was very much just an opposite child of that. Like for me, I was just a kid that wanted to go and do new things and chase down dreams and chase down passions. And my parents were always kind of telling me, make sure you just check off the boxes and make sure you're nice and make sure you do this and make sure you do that. And they mean well, absolutely. This is not, listen, my parents are beautiful, incredible people. This is nothing against them, but I think that's what they were always taught. And so my daughter is taught something very different. I tell her, listen, you should always be kind to people, always. But ruffle some feathers, follow your dreams, chase
mhm,
your passions. Like nothing that you dream about is out of bounds for you. Nothing you dream about is out of control. Like you can do anything you set your mind to, and sometimes that is always more important than just being nice and doing what other people tell you to do. Always challenge that. Challenge people, challenge things. Like follow
mhm.
your dreams. It's what other people are going to you always have to think like, what do I want people to think, like to know about me? Do I want them to say like, oh man, Cecily is really nice? Or do I want them to say like, man, Cecily is this and this and this, and she does this, and I love this about her. Like I want people to see that I follow my passion.
Yeah, I think that's so good. And along those same lines of what Cecily just said, be the parent that tells your kid that they can accomplish anything they want and be whatever they
Yes.
want. I have a 4-year-old. One minute he wants to be a firefighter, the next minute he wants to be a garbage man. If he wants to be a garbage man, if that sets his freaking soul on
Love it.
fire, yes,
Do
babe,
it.
let's go. I'm not going to say, well, no, actually, you should be a lawyer or a doctor. No, you can be whatever you want to be. And along those lines, again, there's nothing wrong with how we were all raised, but we can break generational curses for our
Yes.
children. So I know one thing my dad did so well is just that. He believed in every single one of my dreams. I remember when I started this fitness company, the one that Cecily and I met in 2015. Listen, I had absolutely nothing. I was starting this company, right? I was barely making ends meet. Okay. It was a struggle bus, but I saw like the potential of this company and I saw
Mhm.
the vision. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, Daddy, I am going to make 6 figures here. I'm going to impact thousands of lives. And like, I was 25 when I started. And he's like, yes, you
Yeah.
are. Yes, you are. But I remember also telling my father-in-law the same thing. And he's like, no, you're not.
Okay.
No, you're not. He
Yeah.
didn't. And even when I was like at first with the company, the way the payment worked, it was really awkward. It was like once a month. He's like, this is fraud. This isn't real. This is, and that was like his mindset, which my
Yeah.
father-in-law is one of my favorite people in the world. But just and I guess both of it kind of fired me up because my dad's belief in me was like, let's go. And then my father-in-law's not belief in me was like, let's go. You guys, it
I
depends.
love it.
All of that to be said, believe in your babies. Let them follow their dreams. This life is so short and everybody's literally uniquely and beautifully made. And so letting them explore different things as they grow up and seeing what
Yeah.
they're good at and what sets their soul on fire. Maybe a traditional 4-year school isn't for them. Maybe a trade school is. Maybe no school is. And that's okay as long as they live a life of purpose and happiness. I'd rather my children, my boys, and I actually, in my back of my mind, Cecily, I want them both to play football. I want them both to go to NFL. I want to be like the Kelsey
NFL mom.
brothers. Yeah, I want to
Like
be the Kelsey brothers mom.
the Kelsey mom,
and I want
bringing
them both
cookies
to be
everywhere.
yes, please. And I want them to both be entrepreneurs, but who knows what is going to happen? That's just my dream for them. I'm not going to force that upon them.
She's just going to say it out loud and hope that it just turns into something. You know what's hilarious is, listen, I'm not here to burst your bubble, Brandi. I'm going to put that on a vision board. I'm here for it. I have a 14-year-old, 6 foot tall, incredible beast of a child. He's not a child anymore. He's a teenager. But my whole life, I was like, he's going to be and even people would say that. They're like, he must be one heck of a football player. And up until about the 6th grade, he sure was. He was right there on the front of that O-line, and he was the best football player in the entire world. Teams were like running over each other to try and recruit him. During the summer, I would have the coach come up to me and be like, hey, he's already signed up for next year, right? I want to make sure. Is he on my team? You just hand me his application. Because we live in a small town, right? So like when it came to like the little league version of this football, all the coaches came together and they picked their teams. And so I would have coaches literally be like, just hand me his form. Don't put it in the other pile. And then he got into 6th grade and he was like, I don't love football. I'm going to ride motocross. And I had to swallow it and be like, okay, all right, this is what we're doing. And I became a moto mom and I had to learn all new things.
Moto mom. I just learned a new
and he loves it.
thing.
And it took me the longest time, but I was like, you know what? If this is what he wants, I'm going to learn everything I can about it. I'm going to figure out how to do it. I don't know what we're doing. This is a whole new world, but it's been great. And I think a lot of our own stuff that we put on our kids is like, it's our own fears, right?
Yeah.
We want them to be successful. We want them to be happy. And so sometimes we let that fear filter kind of go onto them, which we should not. So even if you have fears about what your kids are going to do, swallow it. Swallow it. Do not say it. All right. Number 5, you guys. This is our number 5 more important thing than being nice, and that is being kind. I know that sounds similar. It's not the same, okay? The difference between being nice and being kind lies in your motivation and the depth of your actions. Now, I say this a lot. There is a difference between being nice and being kind. Being nice means you're polite, you're agreeable. It's kind of a Southern thing. You're pleasant. You avoid conflict. You're socially accepted. Nice actions can sometimes happen. You can be nice and do a nice thing, but it's usually motivated by a self-desire, a desire to be liked, a desire not to rock the boat. Being kindness is something that's rooted in like deeply in your soul. It's rooted in genuine care and compassion for others. It's not just you're doing something to make somebody happy. It means that you are doing selfless acts that are meant to help and uplift people. And sometimes when you're being kind to someone, you're not making them happy in that moment. It could mean that you're doing something for their long-term good. Regardless of whether it's noticed or appreciated, kindness is about the intention to do good just because you should do good, not because it's easy or convenient. And being kind means doing it a lot of times when it's not easy or convenient. It's about having an open door to people. It's about being hospitable. It's about opening your heart to people, not just being kind to them on the surface level. So think about something like this. Like, would you be the person that if a friend was calling you, are you going to pick up the phone? And if they say, hey, I need to come over right now, I'm having the worst day, are you going to open your door? Or are you going to say, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry that you're having a bad day. Let me take you out for coffee next week. Let's do something later and brush them off. One is kind, one is nice. Okay.
What a good example. That was a very good. Hits close to home. Apparently, Cesley called somebody and was like, let's have coffee next week instead of opening the door for her.
Listen, actually, I am both of those examples because I used to be like, oh, I'm so sorry you're having a bad day. And then, I found Jesus. And then now I'm like, no, you have to open your door. And sometimes I don't want to. A lot of times, actually, I really like my home. I like to be at home. I like to be home by myself. And a lot of times, being a pastor, I will I will get phone calls and they're like, "Can I come over and talk?" And I'm like, "Yes, you can."
Because now you are
Because it's the right thing to do, even if it's not easy, it's the right thing to do. I have to get off my butt and I'm gonna make some coffee and we're gonna talk because that's important.
I love it. All right, grow girls. Being nice is about pleasing others and fitting in. All right. While being kind is about genuinely caring and making a positive impact. We want you to grow in your relationships with others. And sometimes that means setting boundaries and learning how to be kind while still being true to who you are. If this episode has impacted you at all, please be sure to follow, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others who you think would benefit. And remember, you're beautiful, you're capable, you are worthy, and we can't wait to watch you grow, girl.